there's a matter of timing in sadhana that's important to keep in mind. That I mentioned it a little bit last night, that we tend to overthink. So we often choose a sadhana, a spiritual practice, a little before its time, or before it chooses us, before the marriage works. And we find ourselves in this ought and should predicament, where you start out with great love, and within a little while it's, oh my God, I got to do my practice. And it's like another thing, like washing the dishes. And certainly there is value in doing a practice regularly every day, even when you don't want to do it. Because, especially in meditation practice, because in meditation practice, the not wanting to do it is as much grist for the mill of meditation as wanting to do it. It all is stuff you can work with your mind. That's very beautiful. But the delicate balance that has to go on inside oneself, recognizing that if you build up too much negative tone to your practice, too much resistance, you're going to have a reaction to it that's going to take you away from it for a while, and before you can come back later on. A lot of people were so gung-ho in their spiritual practices early on. I remember in the early 70s that you'd find them 5 years later at the local bars drinking beer and watching television, and talking about how they used to do spiritual practices and how they fell off the path. Now, it isn't really falling off the path, it's just another part of the path, as I said last night. But part of that violent reaction was because of in a way, the impurities with which they did it in the first place. So, my usually guidance is to go slow, is to not get too gung-ho. Don't figure you're going to get enlightened yesterday. Relax. Yesterday. Just start to tune. Now, the other thing is when you say, when I found my practice, you can't assume that the practice you found is the practice that's going to last you for the rest of your life. Because who found that practice is, in the course of the practice, going to change into somebody else. And so the practice that was appropriate for the person initially may not be appropriate for you a little way down the line. So you've got to keep staying open. So you hear all these delicate balances that are going on in you. One is the value of deepening a practice. Like Swami Satchidananda once was criticizing me for being such an eclectic dilettante, and he said, well, you see, he said, you can't just go around digging shallow wells everywhere. You've got to dig a deep well so that you get fresh water. Which is just a metaphor that, and I could counter with, another metaphor that would be equally as sweet for the other argument. But when I watch people over time, what I see is that they start out quite eclectically, and then they get drawn into one practice quite deeply. And then when they come out the other end, like Ramakrishna, then they can do all practices, and they're all the same practice. Right? So it's like a funnel. It goes in, and then it goes out again, or this way, I guess, more appropriate. So my answer is that you go gently. Gurdjieff said an interesting thing. He said that, he was a Russian philosopher, and he said that an alarm clock that'll wake you up one moment, you can sleep right through later on. And he said you need to keep finding new alarm clocks to awaken you, because you can have something that awakens you out of your sleepwalking of normal waking consciousness, and it works one moment, like something you read, and a moment later you're reading it and you're busy planning your shopping list while you're reading it. You've gone completely to sleep in the process of doing it. So all of these are merely variables that you have to keep in mind as you're proceeding with your practice. And in terms of the question of discipline, you've got to work very gently with pressing against it, right effort without turning it into a neurotic achievement game, which we in the West are masters of. We can take something that would be joyful, you know, like I'm going to drive to New Mexico. And within a little while it's, oh my God, we didn't make enough time today, we've got to go faster. You know, and you take the whole thing that's beautiful and turn it into a hell realm. And so, now maybe none of you have done that. To me, that's a very familiar thing, of doing that kind of thing, of taking something that is quite delightful. And when you stop and reflect about it, you can take most things in life and turn them back the other way. You can turn them back into, wow, I'm driving in traffic, you know, instead of, oh God, the traffic, you know. I mean, you can just keep flipping your consciousness. You learn how to play with that. Well, the same with spiritual practice. You can keep reinvesting it. And my suggestion is that you have a regular time each day for your practice. And that you say, in effect, I am dedicating this amount of, I'm spending so much time brushing my teeth, I'm spending so much time going to the toilet, I'm spending so much time feeding my body, I am spending so much time feeding my spirit, awakening into my soul. This is what I'm doing. And this is a time that is sacred. And it's not a time when the telephone can ring, and it's not a time when people can call you. It's a time where you respect your practice enough to say to the people around you, this is my practice time. Now, when you have young children, you can't do that because they can't understand that, so you may have to do that before they get up, which is quite early sometimes. So maybe it's 4 o'clock, and then you take a nap later in the day when they can interrupt your nap. Because if you water down your practice too much, if your practice is a practice like meditation or study or chanting or mantra or something like that, if you allow too many distractions, the world just closes in all the time. It's always closing in. When I sit down to do my practices in the morning, I unplug my telephone. And I mean, it's all right. Everybody doesn't have to dial your mind every time they get a whim to do it. It's all right if you're not there. And if they need an emergency, there's the police, or the fire department, you know. I mean, I'm not critical to anybody's life that way. So, and I find that otherwise you end up justifying, I couldn't do it because of this and because of that. And it's very hard because the world presses in so much to give that appropriate time. So a regular time, not so much time that you end up feeling put upon by your practice, right? And it should be a time when you're reasonably fresh and clear. That would be good. If you have two times for meditation, it's even better. But if you have one time each day when you can slow down and allow yourself to process what's been going on in your life from a spiritual perspective, and just kind of run it through, digest it spiritually, digest it into your consciousness. See how you got trapped during the past day, how you lost it. Just get out, and pretty soon those they're like little beads on a thread. And like, say, 6 in the morning every day, it's a little bead on the thread. And there's a bead 6, and a bead 6, and a bead 6, until pretty soon there is continuity across those beads that puts the rest of your life into perspective from that vantage point. Rather than you being in the world going out into the spirit, the game is to flip it so that you're really in a spiritual consciousness playing in the world. That's really what the process is. The transformation for the initial part is to move the plane, the perspective from where you're sitting. So a discipline, but not too violent. Don't get ahead of yourself, and if you feel it's too rigid, stop for a while and try other forms. Keep allowing the eclecticism to go until you feel pulled genuinely into a deeper process.
Blank, blank. How can we get here and now, this evening, turn off all of our dramatic parts, or let's let them run on? I mean, you can run on being who you've been, but let's just not get hung up in them. Let's be here together. How do we do that? Well, we have been going through a procedure of purification which is useful, quite helpful. And we call upon a being who I will explain later to you about where he lives. This being is called Guru Rinpoche, or Padmasambhava. And Padmasambhava was the man who introduced Buddhism to Tibet, and this is a very important period in Padmasambhava's influence for us. He is depicted in these tanka reproductions on either side. And in order to call upon Padmasambhava to bring us here and now, you will do the following. You will imagine Padmasambhava, who is sitting on a lotus in the middle of a lake. And you will imagine him directly out from the middle of your eyebrows, and then go up about a 30-degree angle, and imagine him out there, just a little above your head, out there. He is entirely made up of light. He sits on a throne It is the sun throne of wisdom, and he is the eternal child who sits there. In his right hand he holds the lightning bolt of the method of becoming eternal, the upaya. And in his left he holds the cup which is filled with ambrosia. It's filled with moksha, filled with bliss. He has cut off the heads of aversion, attachment, and confusion, and he wears them as ornaments on his trident, which he holds to his side as his consort. He sits unmoving in meditation. He chants Hung and Fum, drunk upon highest happiness. The Buddhas of the past, present, and the future shine forth through the pores of his skin. His youthful smile is full of compassion. Victory is his crown. Imagining now this being of pure light out in front of us, with eyes closed, you will first need to purify your body and mind before you can invite Guru Rinpoche into your hridayam, or spiritual heart. The first thing you're going to get rid of is roga and ruga, which are disease and attachment. In order to get rid of all of the physical hang-ups and all of the attachments to your melodrama that keep you from being here and now, you will breathe all these things out, and they're going to come out a dark red. And they will come out of your right nostril when you, now, if you are not tuned in on astral vision at this point, you may not see the dark red just yet. But you can imagine it. You will breathe 3 times out the right nostril, and each time imagine you're breathing out all of the physical hang-ups and all of the attachments that keep you stuck. Right, 3 times. And now out the left nostril, a blue-gray in color, you will breathe out mental obstacles and anger. Think of all the people that got you hung up today, got you uptight. All the people that angered you, all the people you still get angry when you think about. And get that anger into you. Really think about them until you're really angry. And then breathe it all out, a kind of a blue-gray out the left nostril. 3 times out the left nostril. You should have a fan to clear away all those vibrations. And then out the mouth, purple in color, 3 times you will breathe out sloth, inertia, the heaviness, the stone-like quality, tamasya, all the qualities that keep you from getting on with it, all that kind of 3 times purple out the mouth. Now imagining Guru Rinpoche sitting out there on his lotus. Imagine coming from his ajna, the point right between his eyebrows, a beam of white light that comes directly to your ajna, a beam that burns right into you, and it burns out all of the physical impurities. It just keeps working on the physical impurities. Feel it burn through you. Om. And then from his ajna, the same place, to your throat, a red beam which burns out of you all untruths, all lies, all wrongness of speech. Ah. And then a blue beam that comes from his spiritual heart to your spiritual heart, your hridayam. And this blue beam burns out all impurities of thought, all the thoughts that keep you from being an enlightened being, from knowing who you truly are. Hung. And now let that blue beam become a broad blue avenue, and down that avenue comes Guru Rinpoche himself. Pure light, pure love, pure awareness, pure energy, total wisdom. Absolute power. And he comes into your own heart, and he resides there, and when you know who you truly are, you and he are one. You are composed of pure love, pure light, pure energy, pure wisdom, infinite power. And his mantra is Aum Ahung Vajra Guru Padme Siddhi Hum. Aum Ahum Vajra Guru Padme Siddhi Hum. Aum Ahum Vajra Guru Padme Siddhi Hum. Aum Ahum Vajra Guru Padme Siddhi Hum. Vajra Guru Padme Siddhi Hum. Aum is the unmanifest. Aum is the eternal, formless, the void. Aum is what lies behind all. Aum. Ah is the imminence for manifestation. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And the sound which is later to turn into form, the imminent is Ah. Hung, the manifest. Hung, manifest. All of the forms in the universe are Hum, Hum, Om, Ah, Hum. Vajra, lightning bolt. 3 in 1. The 3 in 1 lightning bolt, Vajra Guru. The lightning bolt, wisdom, wisdom, Guru, wisdom, wisdom. Om Ahung Vajra Guru Padme. Padme means lotus, and it also means unbearable compassion. The 3 in 1 lightning bolt, Guru of wisdom inside you, of unbearable compassion, Siddhi of infinite power, Hung is manifest, Hung heart is manifest in my heart. Om Ahung Vajra Guru Padme Siddhi Hung. The 3 in 1, the unmanifest, the immanent, and the manifest, all are Padma Sambhava, and they are made up of unbearable compassion when they view the form and the 3 in 1 is infinite power, and it all resides in my very heart. And if I can go within to my own heart, to my spiritual heart, my Hridayam, I will then know I am He. I am He. I am He. It is from this place in our heart cave, where we now are, that we watch the entire drama that is our lives. We watch the illusion with unbearable compassion. Compassion meaning empathy, meaning a true understanding of how it is. A kind of empathy you can only have when you have quieted your mind down enough and transcended your ego enough so you can hear how it really is. So when you are with a candle flame, you are the candle flame. When you're with another being's mind, you are the other being's mind. When there is a task to do, you are the task. The mindless quality of total involvement that only comes when the ego is quieted and there is no attachment. It is only when you reside quietly in your own Hridayam that you become He of total light, unbearable compassion, and infinite power. Had ye but faith, ye could move mountains, said Jesu. And that is literally true. The Bible is not a metaphor, it's not a story made up to teach us how to be moral beings. It's a straight message of how it is when man lives in the Spirit. And the Spirit is right inside, and in order to get into the Spirit is not a whole lot of hocus pocus. It's a very simple, methodical, mechanical set of steps, but they are only available to him who can hear. Let those who have ears.
So in the next few minutes when I'm reading to you, try to find a comfortable place where you can be with your head, neck, and chest in a straight line. And you could be lying flat down, or you could be sitting up. Meditation is many things. It can be meditating on an object of meditation. Or it can be a process of letting all objects go by. The process now is to dislodge ourselves from our inordinate attachment to our own thoughts. Because as long as we're locked into our thoughts, we're always just one thought away from here. Since we've been talking about Guru-ness, let us use this time together and this incredible spiritual energy that the sharing we're doing at this moment is tuning us into. To allow us all to get a little closer to the Sat-Guru that is within all beings. There's so many ways of visualizing the formless in form. Some meditators prefer to place the desired image of the Guru-ness on the top of their heads. They may imagine Buddha on top of their head. And some bring him into their heart and experience him sitting on a lotus in the Hridaya, the spiritual heart. Imagine a Buddha-like being now. Somebody like Padmasambhava, also known as Guru Rinpoche. Being sitting cross-legged on a lotus. A being made of pure light. A being of absolute calm, compassion, peace.
Imagine that being in front of you. Imagine that being at about eye level. In the distance. Now imagine a broad highway of blue light stretches from that being to your heart. And then experience that being very, very gently floating in the lotus position on the lotus, floating closer and closer. So much light, so much love, so much compassion. Let that being come inside. Until it resides in your very heart. Not your physical heart, your spiritual heart. Just about in the center of your chest, a little to the right, but just about a thumb's length. And feel that being sitting inside. Now let that guru increase in size until its body just conforms with your body. So where your leg is, the guru's leg. Your shoulder, the guru's shoulder. Your head, the guru's head. Now feel what it feels like to be interpenetrated with a being of total compassion. The compassion to see the entire universe fully, with all of its polarities, without attachment, no attachment, allowing it to be, not demanding it be anything other than it is, seeing it all in its utter perfection. Now feel what it feels like to be interpenetrated with a being of pure light. Experience yourself as pure light. Feel the light emanating from deep within and coming out through all of your pores, pouring out through your eyes and all of your orifices, and from the ends of your toes and from your fingertips. Now, feel what it feels like to be interpenetrated with a being of pure love. Be love. Be love. Feel that love emanating from every part of your being. Now feel what it feels like to be interpenetrated with the being of total consciousness, pure consciousness. Let every part of your being be conscious. Now with your eyes closed, start to experience this body of light, of compassion, of love, of consciousness. Growing in size. Start to experience more and more of the universe as within you. Everything you can think of, say, Tat Tvam Asi, I am that too. And when you've moved out in space, in all directions, till there is no space you can conceive of that you aren't. Now move in time. Backwards. Everything you can think about in history. Tat Tvam Asi, I am that too. Now future. all possibilities you could imagine. Bring them all within yourself. And bathe all of the future and all of the past and all of the present and all of there and all of here with self-illuminating radiance. With compassion. See within yourself all the polarities, all the goods and all the evils, all the beauties and all the uglinesses. All the yin and all the yang. And now, of course, you include me, and I include you. So in this place, there is only one of us. And this voice, and this air, is part of what we are. And within us, all of the laws of the universe are reflected in all of the forms and if I am it all, then the word I has no more meaning. Because there is no not I. And so there is no I. Here and now, there is only isness. Just being. The planets move, the heart beats, all of the laws are manifested in all of the forms of the universe. Now we can look within ourselves and we can see the separate entities who we thought we were before we started this meditation. Find that entity who you thought you were. Examine it. With some curiosity, as you would any other phenomenon in nature. Examine its dance in life. Look at all the problems it thinks it has, and the plans it has. Look at its desires. Desires it has because it doesn't realize tatvam asi, that it is already everything. Look at all its fears. Look at all of this with the absolute compassion that you are now. The compassion to see it all. Allow it to be. Now look into that being who you thought you were. Look inside that being. Way, way inside of it. And see who you now know yourself to be. The entire universe. Now ever so gently, start to re-experience your body, your physical body. The body in which you are dwelling at this moment. You are now re-entering this incarnation, starting from your toes, let your consciousness move up your body until it reaches the crown of your head. Now, ever so gently, come back into the personality you have incarnated into in this birth. But at the same moment, you are re-entering into your separateness. Keep in mind, keep in pure mind, keep in the identity with the Guru. Back into your senses. thoughts, all part of the incarnation. And now as we proceed on through the pages of the book of our lives, let's remember that in our hridayam, in our heart, sits our Guru. Guru, God, and self are one. Wherever you think you go, whoever you think you are, whatever you think, he is. Guru is. Guru is. Whoever you meet, in her, in him, resides Guru. Wherever you look, whatever you see, all Guru. Now and always. Om.
But the other techniques of meditation are just to take one place and focus on it and bring your mind down and down and down and down and down and down until you can stay in one place and all other thoughts go by. Be it somebody's eyeballs, be it your breathing going in and out, be it the mantra, be it a face, be it whatever it is, until there's only that, and then you wipe that one out. That's the secret, that's the trip, that's the steps in what's called Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi in Patanjali's system. You go in, you sit down. See, I'll go into my room and I'll sit down and I'll get comfortable. And then I pick whatever method of meditation I'm going to use at that moment. Whichever one happens to appear is the one I use. So if it's, for example, a focus somewhere in one of my centers, I work with that. I may be focusing on the light in my ajna and just bring the light in more and more and more right here. I might be focusing on my breath, on my muscles going up and down with my breath. Take this one that I always teach, the Satipatthana Vipassana. Rising, falling, rising, falling. All these muscles just go flip, flip with every breath. Flip, flip. So you just get so rising, falling. Rising, falling. Just take 15 minutes every morning and every evening and sit down and just watch those muscles go up and down. And that's your instructions. Do nothing else all the time, those 15 minutes, but do that. Any other thought that comes into your head, let it go by. All you got to do is watch rising, falling, rising, falling, rising. Keep doing it until pretty soon there's just those little muscles inside here that are doing that flip, flip, flip. And in your head is this rotating set of words: rising, falling, rising, falling. Now, the baby makes a noise, the baby gurgles. We all note the baby gurgling. You can note it if you want. Baby gurgle. Then rising, falling. Rising, falling. Window rattles, window rattles. Rising, falling. Rising, falling. Knee hurts, knee hurts. Rising, falling. Rising, falling. You just keep coming back to that place. You're just slowly foiling the mind's ability to take you on trips all the time, that's all. And the calmer and the more centered you get, like in Tai Chi, where the movement, the body movement, your consciousness is right where that movement is. It's nowhere else. You're not thinking about other things. You're not thinking, here I am doing Tai Chi. It's just the movement. That's all there is. Just that consciousness goes right with it. That's the whole business. Total one-pointedness. In karate, the way a board is broken is that your full consciousness is right on the back end of your hand when you do that. All the energy's right there because you're not thinking about anything else. You're not thinking of, now I'll break the board. One-pointedness of mind is an extraordinary, extraordinary vehicle for, it's the prerequisite, it seems to me, of the entire game. In terms of two strategies for getting on with the work, I'll give you the maximum and the minimum strategy that I can conceive of and work with. The maximum strategy was when I lived in the temple. Up at 4:30, bathing in the river, back, bathing with mantra. Up into, you don't get up immediately. You start at around 2 in the morning. You're sleeping on a hard surface. You don't sleep too deeply. Right? You didn't eat. You only eat at noon. You don't eat in the evening so that you're very light, so that you don't sleep that deeply. And around 2 in the morning, you start a dream. You start the mantra going, right, when you come out of deep sleep. And so you're Om Mani Padme, Om Mani Padme, and the dreams are going by. They're just astral work you're doing. Just like this is physical work we're doing. It's just stuff you're doing to live out your karma. And all you do is do it consciously. Note your astral life going by you. Dream consciously. It's the same place you get into when the alarm went off and you don't want to give up the dream yet, and you remember to get up, but you also try to keep the dream till you finish with it. Everybody goes through that, where there's a 2-level operation. When you do this for about 2 or 3 hours. And then 5:30, 6, 4:30, whenever it is, you get up and you wash and you do your toileting and all that, and then you come and you sit down in front of your puja table. You sit down in front of a place you have designated as a place where there is no other game but the game of becoming conscious. It's a crutch. These are all crutches I'm talking about, and they will all go ultimately. When you're in no mind, you can just live just like everybody else all the time without any, but these are all crutches. You sit down in a place, you may have some pictures around of beings who've made it that help, like Buddha or Christ or whoever it is that you want to hang out with, Ramakrishna, Ramana Maharshi. Some current ones, such as Sai Baba, Kirpal Singh, Meher Baba. I don't know, and you might just have their pictures around or not. If pictures turn you off, don't have their pictures. But They're just groovy cats to hang around because they know how it is. And they give you straight messages all the time. They're looking into somebody's eyes who's finished. Just a pure mirror. And then you learn how to honor, to consecrate. You light some incense, and you might make the symbol of Om 3 times. Just the symbol of Om with the incense before these pictures. Now what you're doing is you are honoring that place in all of us which is. You're honoring the place in yourself, the highest place in yourself. When you honor Ramana Maharshi, you're not honoring Sam Maharshi or Ramana Maharshi in the form of Ramana Maharshi. You're honoring the fact that he's a living statement of who we are. So that you honor, which is the offering, it's the offering, it's doing from where you are in the illusion to that which is beyond the illusion. You're honoring Gate, Gate, Paragate, Parasama again. And then you do your puja, and then you sit down, and then you start to center. And you may start out by doing your breathing. You might just meditate, just calm down, calm a little bit down, and then start to do your breathing. And on and on. And then after that, maybe you'll do some asanas, some hatha yoga. Now, if you're going to do asanas, which you'll finally figure out, you've got to get your body straight, because you'll see that you're spending most of your time doing this and this and this and this and this and all this business, that you finally get pulled into getting your body straight with hatha yoga. And the thing about hatha yoga is it not only gets you so you can sit and cool your body out, but it opens, when it's done right, it sensitizes you to a whole lot of nerves in your body that you can hear. You start to hear them and work with them. They're like radio receivers. And the third thing that asanas are is that they are mudras. They are statements again. That every mantra, like you go into a twist, and you get into it, and you sit up straight, and you turn your body, and you get into it as well as you can, and then you make the statement. You center perfectly. And you are in this position as if you were born this way. You are a piece of sculpture. You've never been any other way but this. And the minute you've centered in that place, then you're finished with that particular statement. And as you get more conscious, you will begin to feel how each asana, meaning seat in Hatha Yoga, each of the 84 asanas, is a different kind of a statement. You'll start to experience the statementness, the nature of that statement when you make it each time. Right? It's like calligraphy. And you do your asana slowly and consciously. You take each asana, you go into it gently, you make the statement, you come out of it. You go into the next one. A good Hatha yogi can go through all 84 of them, just in, flip, out, in, flip, out, in, flip, out, and all the time is staying perfectly centered through it all. You finish your asanas, and then you meditate. Do rising and falling, or focus on something, and do that for 15 minutes, 30 minutes. Now, I'm giving you the maximum program, if you were going on a maximum program. Then you might go do Tai Chi. Then you might take tea, or take something in the morning, very light, very, very light. Tea would be enough. 1 meal a day is plenty. And then you would sit down and you might read like one of the writings of somebody who's made it. You might read the writings of Ramakrishna or Buddha or something like that. Don't read secondary sources. Read the straight stuff. Read the New Testament. Read the words of Jesus. Don't read the rest. Get the Bible where it's in red, where Jesus speaks, and read his words. Don't read all the rest of the drama. Read the Vedas, the Upanishads, the Gita, Philokalia, the the Kabbalah, on and on. There's lots of stuff you can read in that category. Don't read a lot, though. Everybody's collected enough. We've all been collecting, have you read this? Did you read the Upanishads? The Upanishads are not something you read like that. See? The Upanishads are written in little lines, which seem like a hang-up if you're going to get through pages. Man, you got to go little line, little line, little line. But it's meant, study in the Hindu system, in the yoga, is done by studying a shloka. You can take one of those little lines and just work with it. Just open any one, like I've got maybe 6 or 8 holy books around me, sitting at my puja table, and I can close my eyes, pick any one, like the I Ching or the Tao or whatever it happens to be, pick it up, open it, look at the first line that hits my eye, read the line, close the book, put it away, and that's my study for the day. And then I study it. I go in that line and around it and over it and through it, and I associate it to everything in my life, and I just do it until I've done that line. Till I have become one with that line. That's study. Study is not collecting information. Study in this sense is vibrating with information till you become one with it.
This meditation is drawn from Theravada or Southern Buddhism. It's called Anapana, and it means it's just bringing you to right here. And it's done through the breath. It's what is common to everybody in this room at this moment. Of all of our individual differences is we are all breathing in, breathing out. This process is one that is like, if you can imagine a flower, and the center of the flower, and then the petals coming out of the flower, center. And the center is called your primary object of meditation. And the petals are all the thoughts that keep coming out from that center. In this case, our primary object of meditation is our breath. We will focus on our breath going in and our breath coming out. You can do this 2 ways. One is by focusing on a muscle that is in the solar plexus, that every time you breathe in, it moves in one direction, and every time you breathe out, it moves in another direction. Rising, falling. Rising, falling. Or you could focus at the tip of the inside of your nose. And as the air goes by, you will feel a slight whisper of air on the in-breath. And as the air goes out, you will feel a slight whisper of air on the out-breath. And you are like a gatekeeper at the gates. The cars go in and they go out. You don't follow them to see where they go. You just notice the breath going in, breathing in, the breath going out, breathing out. So whichever one is easiest for you, pick one now and stay with it for this period of 15 minutes. Either the muscle in your abdomen, in your solar plexus, that is going rising, falling, or the air going by the tip of your nose, breathing in, breathing out. Your job in the most gentle possible way is to merely keep your awareness focused on your primary object. Now, it's going to wander. Your awareness is going to be grabbed by many thoughts. You'll sit down and you'll say, breathing in, breathing out, and then the thought will come, this will never work. Okay? Now you can either take the thought, this will never work, and immediately go off on another train of thought. Even though I'm giving you instructions, you just ignore them and then the meditation's over. That's okay. Or at some point you say, gee, all I was going to do for these 15 minutes is watch my breath, and this is another thought, I'll just let it go and I'll go back to my breath. The art is not to get violent with your other thoughts. Don't get guilty because you're thinking them. Don't even try to push them away. Merely very gently, again and again, bring your awareness back to the primary object of meditation. Let each thought be another petal in the flower and keep coming back to the center, back to the center, back to the center. So with eyes closed and body straight as is comfortable for you to sit, it's good to keep straight, if you can, your head and neck and chest. Bring your awareness either to the muscle in your abdomen or to the breath passing the tip of your nostrils. And notice the breath, either rising and falling or breathing in and breathing out. If the breath gets fast or slow, it doesn't matter. Just notice it. Don't change it. You're just noticing. You are merely remaining aware. Any sounds, smells, sensations, just let them come and let them go and bring your awareness back to either rising and falling or breathing in, breathing out. If your mind wanders, just notice it and bring it very gently back to breathing in, breathing out, or rising and falling. Wherever your mind is now, just notice where it is and bring it very gently back to rising, falling, breathing in, breathing out. If it helps to say those words inside yourself with each breath, it's perfectly okay. All the sounds, everything that comes into your ears, just notice it as another thought. Come back to your breath. There's nothing you need to think about now other than breathing in, breathing out, or or rising and falling. Notice the shape and form as the breath goes by, beginning, middle, and end of the in-breath, the space, the beginning, middle, and end of the out-breath, the space. If you experience agitation or confusion or boredom or bliss or anything, just see it as more thoughts. Notice it and bring your awareness back to rising and falling, or breathing in and breathing out. If you begin to doze, take a few deep, intentional breaths. Rising and falling, or breathing in and breathing out. All the feelings in your body, the sounds, the sensations, the tastes, the smells, the sights. Just coming and going, bring your awareness back to the primary object of meditation. Firm in your seat, head straight. Rising, falling, or breathing in, breathing out. There are 3 more minutes left. Use these 3 minutes consciously. Gently but firmly, each time your mind wanders, bring it back to rising, falling, or breathing in, breathing out. Be vigilant but gentle. Bring the awareness back to the basic primary object of meditation. Basic attention to the breath. Okay. Om. Can relax now.
Because the first step of karma yoga to get free of the attachments to your own life is to develop a witness. Gurdjieff talks about the different me's in the body. He says there's the me that sets the alarm clock at night and the me in the morning who says, who in hell set this alarm clock? And we have thousands and thousands of these me's. And there is one me that watches all the other me's. Right? That's its only game. It's not trying to change any of the me's. Right? It's not evaluating them. It's not the judge. It's not the superego. It doesn't care about anything. It just notes it. It's not even looking. It's just noting it. It's noting, there he is doing that. That witness, that place inside you is your centering device, and that begins to be the work one does on oneself. Once one understands there is a place in oneself that one is not attached, the first job is to extricate yourself from attachment. Like I am doing a mantra now. It's a Tibetan mantra. Inside of me is going around, Aum mane padme hung, 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 Aum mane. That has been going on all day today. And that's where I am living, inside that place. And this guy that's speaking to you is, look at him speaking. Look at him speaking. In other words, the path is the path of going, and I may be laying too much on you, but I'm really trying to share with you this stuff. The path is going from many subjects and many objects down to one subject and all the rest object. And then the last step, like Ramana Maharshi, I am not the I thought, is turning in on that subject and making it object. And then you go through a door and then it's all subject. You grok the universe, in Heinlein's terms. Because you and I both know where, quote, high is, where Heliopolis is, where Highsville, where the place is. And we know there are two qualities of it that are very clear. One is that it's outside of time, and the other is that there is no subject-object in that world. And yet the thinking mind works in time, and it deals only with subject and object. And therefore, it is only when you come into the immediate now, right here now, here we are, right now, right here, now. And here's a new now, still here, right in this place, here now. From in here now, you watch time go by.
You don't be in time. You be, and time goes by in the same way as if you were standing on a bridge and watching it all go under the bridge. That is the eternal present. And subject-object is the other key to getting out of it, getting out of this particular frequency range so that you at least have the choice of your frequency. See, the illusion is that this is the only reality. This is as real as any of the rest of it because it's all illusion. But you don't have any choice. And the only hope for us is that we get to the point where we can at least flip the dial. As long as you're in a human body, you are in illusion, but you can move in and out of various illusions. Until finally you become he who is behind all illusion, Satchit Ananda.
Don't try to do anything special. Just sit with what is. Sit with what is. With the mind, with the feelings. Sounds. Neither pushing nor pulling, just being present, relax. Thoughts arise and disappear, replaced by another thought or another sensation. Find within yourself that vast, spacious awareness. It is like the sky. And all the phenomena that come to into awareness, thoughts, the sound of my voice, sensations, they're like clouds drifting across the sky. They don't change the sky. Sounds, sensations, feelings, thoughts. They're not disturbances, they're all just part of the natural set of phenomena that are appearing, that are crossing the sky. Keep going back into that part of awareness that is just the sky. Resting in spacious awareness.
Into your awareness comes this and comes that. But it is awareness itself. Resting in your natural essence. Resting in this awareness that is empty like the sky. The clouds come and they go, and awareness is. Awareness is a little like a flashlight or a torch. It shines on this and that, but it doesn't shine on itself. Pure, primordial awareness. When you rest in that awareness and don't get fixated or fascinated by the thoughts and sensations as they arise, you rest in equanimity, in a brilliant clarity. There was a great spiritual master who described this state. Open yourself to this description. He said, I am without form, without limit. I am beyond space, beyond time. I am in everything. Everything is in me. Everywhere I am. Thoughts, sensations, feelings, coming, going. Don't cling, just noticing them. Coming back again and again into root awareness. Rest your weary mind. Rest in just this. If you're thinking or restless, don't be upset. If you're upset, just notice it. Let it all be part of your natural state. You don't have to look holy. Just keep coming back into the deepest place of rest, behind all the forms, not pushing the forms away, not grabbing at them. In these last few minutes of meditation, resting in awareness.
However, there are certain things that we are perceiving and are doing in the universe that you and I are both doing that isn't different between you and me. In fact, it's common to everybody that is human. Those are the clingings that determine that we meet on this plane. Specifically, they are the clingings to senses and to thought. Giving you straight Buddhism now. It's not Buddhism, but Buddha talked about it. Because if you weren't attached, like if you sit down and meditate, do a meditative practice, and you start to go deeper and deeper and deeper, and your breath gets quieter and your body gets stiffer, and your thoughts flow by, and you go into the space which exists around the thoughts and in the thoughts, and you get quieter and emptier, pretty soon you notice the senses working, but you're not being the listener or the seer or the smeller or the taster or the feeler. They're just all doing their thing. For example, sometimes when you're reading a book, you get so fascinated with a book, you don't hear something that happens around you. Somebody walks in a room. You didn't plug up your ears. The ears are hearing, but your awareness is not attending to your ears hearing. They are attending to your eyes looking and to your thoughts thinking. Do you understand that? Anybody there? Yeah. Okay. If You could imagine now withdrawing your awareness from your eyes seeing and your ears hearing and your nose smelling and your tongue tasting and your skin feeling. You don't stop them, they're going on, but your awareness is withdrawn. Then what you're left with is your thoughts thinking. And it is now you are ready to withdraw your awareness from your thoughts thinking until thoughts are going by like a river and awareness is. The minute you think, I am aware, that's a thought, that's not awareness. When you have become just awareness, and there is no more you being aware, which is a thought, and you're not clinging to senses or to thoughts, you are no longer here in your body. You have entered into states of samadhi in which your awareness is somewhere else. And in those somewhere else's lies realms and realms and realms of equally valid reality to this reality. You may go on to planes of existence where you meet lots of other beings that don't even live on this plane. The psychic realms, the subtle realms, the astral realms. You may go into planes of existence where there are just patterns of energy or thought forms, like Plato's world of pure ideas, where there isn't even forms of humans. There's no emotional content, there's just ideation. You may go into a realm of awareness where there is no separation. It's what's called the Zeitgeist, the homogeneous white field. It's the one, the ancient one. It's all the same thing. It's just all one stuff, undifferentiated stuff. Each of these is a plane of relative reality which is equally as real as this auditorium is. The reason this auditorium seems so real to you is because of your attachment to your senses and to your thinking mind, and because you hardly ever get a chance to get outside of that attachment, so you hardly ever leave this realm of reality except when you go to sleep and you go into dream states, which you treat as slightly suspect. Although when you're in them, they certainly seem real enough, don't they? Okay. Well, this is another one of them. And you'll awaken from this one too. And you'll say, far out, it was just another dream. Far out. And all the time. But didn't you say that in the dream last night? It's no different. And don't some of your dreams seem to have long time durations? Do you know how long they take? Like that. When people say, my whole life flashed before my eyes, like that. Buddha looked back, and at 1 second he saw his last 99,000 incarnations. Like that. Okay. The mind is working at the rate of 1 trillion thought forms per second, sequentially. And when your awareness is not limited by its subtle attachments and clingings, you can get to the point, as Buddha did, through the depth of the meditative looseness, where he could get outside of time and he could watch every one of those thought forms come into existence, exist, and die. 1 trillion a second? What is the time and space domain of awareness? Awareness has no time and space domain. It can become microscopic, it can become telescopic. Who you are is so vast and so tiny and so all of it, it's absurd. Who you think you are is a very limited situation within a limited range of possible sensations, information, and realities. And what is common to all of us that have taken birth on this plane is that we are all hooked on our senses and our thoughts. Simple as that.
Concentrate on your breath. In, out, in, out. Maybe the tip of the nose will be the place where you will do that. Now, keep that concentration. Bring it to the middle of your heart space. And that point is loving awareness. And that loving awareness is you. It's the real you. For you are awareness. Now, you can be aware of your eyes and what they see. You can be aware of the ears about you, what they hear. What the skin feels. You can be aware of your mind and the river of thoughts that come out of your mind. Thoughts, thoughts, thoughts. Some of those thoughts are positive, some are negative. Some are about you, and about others. Some of them are judging thoughts. But you will stay identified with loving awareness in your heart, in the heart center. I am loving awareness. I am loving awareness. I am loving awareness. I am loving awareness. Awareness is not a thing. We can label it, but it is not the words. You are loving awareness. So is Christ. So is Krishna. So is Buddha. So is Maharaji. They are loving awareness, and so are you. One loving awareness. One loving awareness. in each of us is a finger of the hand of loving awareness. Loving awareness is in everybody. Everybody is in loving awareness. War and disagreement and states and that's the games. That's the games we play. Yet we are loving awareness. We are individuals, but we're not. We are the whole thing. We are all God. You are an individual and you are part of the whole. Loving awareness. When you finally get to be loving awareness. Be loving awareness. Be. Be. We are all beings together. One consciousness. We are satsang. We are those who seek the truth. Seek the truth. Seek the truth. Namaste. Namaste.